I'll be the best alive. I'm gonna show you how to do it right. You'll see how you should be living life. But when you do, it's not that hard, really, but I wanna give it up. I'll be the best alive. I'm gonna show you how to do it right.
What's up, BC? I'm Giovanni, and this is the podcast for Boston. Today, we are joined by BC Men's Baseball. We have catcher Gunnar Johnson, pitcher Tyler Mudd, and head coach Todd Interdonato. Guys, thanks for taking the time of your morning to be with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, really appreciate it. I mean, you guys have got the gauntlet coming up in 7 days. Tyler, we were talking just before, 58, 59 games on the schedule this season. Maybe won't play all of them, but how do you guys balance getting right, getting rested for this season, and then, of course, being excited to play baseball in a week?
Yeah, so actually in one of our meetings yesterday, we talked about kind of stress and, emptying the tank and making sure we have enough in our tank for the season, especially like you said, coming up soon, and a lot of games in kind of a shorter amount of days. So, I think the big thing we kind of just talked about is stress levels, and, you're dealing with academics, athletics. So things like managing your time effectively and being organized are going to be, really relevant for making sure we're stress-free and ready to focus on the baseball games.
Gunnar, what does that look like for you?
I would say, it's tough. Like, we're playing 56 games in a 90-day span. So we're playing 4 to 5 games a week. So unlike football and these other sports, like, you don't have a week to reset. Like, it's just about you have what you have that day, and you have to compete with that. And that's just what you have to do.
I think going into the excitement part, Todd, is the Fenway night at Fenway Park just a couple of days ago. What was that event like?
Something that, there's no way that our staff could have created that in the short time we've been here. I mean, that thing's been going on since the 80s. So there's just got to be so much respect and credit given to all the people that started it, all the way back with Greg Galius, who was the one who originated it, still an active member of our alumni group. And then it was just built through the years. And, really, I felt like I was jumping on a moving train with that thing. And then we switched it to the 521 Overlook, which has been a great space. And it's just, I tell our players and I tell everybody, it is the best night of the year, but it's also the most important night of the year. So we love it. We have a great time. Players have a great time. Coaches, alumni, we look forward to it every year.
What are some of the things about that night, and this is for any of you, that make it so important and so special?
I think it just connects all the generations. That, to me, that's my interpretation of it, right? You look at guys who, played here 4 or 5 decades ago that are there. And then you have guys that are in their first year of the program. And then everybody in between. You feel like when we sit down and we look at the registration list, you literally can find someone that played at BC baseball in every generation or every decade or every stint throughout it. And it's just all those generations, is kind of a way to say it, all connected together in one night for the same purpose. That, to me, is what that night's all about.
Yeah, and I think the best part about something like that is you have it so close to the season, right? So you're talking about those very same things that, like you said, they may predate your staff, they may predate you guys getting here, but they're kind of broiled into the fabric of BC baseball. Tyler, you've been at that event, of course, a couple of times, and Gunnar, your second time now. Do you find that event has that effect on you for the season?
Yeah, absolutely. I think just thinking, I feel like it gets you even more fired up for the season. Like, the thing about BC baseball that feels like such a close-knit community, the MC, Chris Kowalski, he played and was recently just diagnosed with cancer, unfortunately, and that was kind of the big things he brought up that really hit home for me is, I had so many people reach out, and it really felt like such a, I had this community that I could lean back on, and I think that's what's special for me, along with meeting, former alumni that I didn't go to school with that were further beyond my time, and also seeing guys I played with again who had moved to New York City or whatnot. It's great seeing everyone, and we talk at BC for all sports, it's the 40-year plan, not the 4-year plan, so it's also, I guess, a great networking opportunity as well to meet some pretty important people.
And it's at Fenway Park, right? Not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Tyler, I know you're a Sox fan. Gunner, you said you're a Mets fan, so
correct,
maybe
yes.
I don't know if they have a BC version of that at Citi Field, but obviously you don't want to make that commute, right? I think the unique thing about having you three on the podcast is that you've all come to BC from different college baseball destinations. Coach, you were at Wofford for a long time. Gunner, you as well. Tyler, you came over from Holy Cross. So you each, I think, have a unique story about why BC stood out to you. What was that for each of you?
Personally, for me, like I'm from Connecticut, so going to Wofford was a longer commute. Like it was a 12-hour drive every break. Not seeing my family for extended periods of time, 6 months. And then going into my freshman year, I tore my meniscus early on in the fall, and was ready somewhat between towards the end of the season, and me and Todd ended up having a talk. And at the time, he recruited to the 35 roster spot. So if you were on the team, you're on the team, and there wasn't any redshirting or wiggle room to get a year back. And he sat down with me and had a conversation. Was like, the best option for you is to redshirt this year. He goes, his exact line was, whether or not you use that extra year with me or with somebody else, he goes, this is what's going to benefit you the most. So after graduating and having grad years left, I just thought I owed that to him. He gave me that shot, and so I should want to repay him in that way.
Tyler?
Yeah, so being a Massachusetts kid, BC has always been kind of a dream school for me. And I had talked to them a good amount in high school. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. I was actually committed to Rutgers my sophomore year of high school, and then tore my ACL. The coaching staff got whacked, got decommitted.
That's a real Jersey way of going about that, right? Wow. That's great.
And then the next summer was COVID. So, yeah, committed to Holy Cross. Being from Shrewsbury, it's very close to home. Ultimately, after my sophomore year, decided to enter the portal while I was playing in the Cape. And, when BC reached out, which was about a week or two before he got there, he was actually it was funny. He was recruiting me that summer as well while he was at Wofford. So we had met a week or two before. Then BC offered, and it was kind of a no-brainer for me. Like I said, it was my dream school. And so I texted him and was like, hey, appreciate, you recruiting me, best of luck this season. And 2 weeks later, he was the new coach, and I was like, oh, crap. It was kind of a 360 moment there.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Coach, do you have anything to say about that story?
Yeah. Just goes, the serious comment is it just goes to show you how small the baseball world is, how tight-knit, and, Tyler handling the recruiting process the right way, I think made him feel really good about doing this. And then, I just felt good about the way he did it. I understood the decision he made. And then, if I would sit here and say I didn't mess with him a little bit and have some fun with him, that would be a lie. But, we were excited. My family and I, just kind of our journey to get here, is one of those things where, I remember, getting a heads up. I knew, Mike was leaving to go to Penn State. That was kind of public. And then I got a heads up that they may reach out. Actually, on July 4th, I got a heads up that they may reach out. And I remember walking back into the house that we were hanging out at doing the July 4th stuff. And I looked at my wife and I go, I think BC might, we might get a chance to talk with BC. And she's like, what do you think? I go, if that becomes a possibility, we'll walk there for that. Just between the city, the institution, the league, the prestige, the type of student athletes that, we'd be fortunate enough to be around. And I'd been to BC a bunch, been to Boston a bunch, knew a lot about it, had some favorite places to eat. So basically it was like getting to go work in your dream vacation spot. That was the way Melissa and I looked at it.
Yeah.
So when it became a possibility, there was, it was just a slam dunk. And then for our daughters as well, just the education up here and the community that they get to grow up in, that was honestly one of the biggest factors.
Take me back to that first day you were here, Todd. When you walk in and maybe you see the Frady Center and Harrington, did it all hit you that that's like all those thoughts you had were validated?
I think really meeting all of the people and the names that I had heard, and then feeling their care and how genuine they were. I think that was honestly what hit me more. To be honest, I had seen Frady's, I had seen Harrington before I came to interview and before I was introduced. So I kind of had an image. You certainly look at it from a different lens. From a visitor, you look at it more from an aesthetic point of view. This is beautiful. This is gorgeous. From a coaching perspective, you look at it for how do we use this space? You know, what's the functionality of it is a little bit better. But then sitting down, talking to everybody, the names I had heard that had been in the program, and just feeling how welcoming they were, that was really what hit me the hardest.
I feel the same way about my BC experience because I remember touring here. I mean, obviously during the COVID process, Tyler, you mentioned that you know you only get to tour a certain number of times, and BC happened to be one of the schools that had a lot of tours, right? And I just remember walking on this campus, you know, looking at guests and an alumni, right? And you're just like, wow, this is you're blown away, right? And I think that's the beauty of this school. But then you get here, like you said, and mentioned some of those people. Tyler, Gunnar, how were those same people, maybe whether it's new teammates or coaches, the staff, how were they influential to you when you first got here?
Personally, for me, I mean, obviously, I knew Todd already from being at Wofford, and then we also had Jack Milani on the staff, who was also a student manager at Wofford, and Holden Wilder, who I played with at Wofford, who's actually the same year as me. But then the new coaches like Ryan Forrest and Coach Soul, you know, they would just welcome me with open arms. Like, it's tough for me when you go 4 years at a different program to come and just meet a whole new group of people after like you went 2 years being the upper class of like people were coming to meet you. And I think they made that transition very, very easy for me because they just didn't hold anything against me, allowed me to ask whatever questions I needed to ask about BC because I was open to learn about BC being new to the program.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny. Being a Massachusetts kid, and having a lot of Mass guys on the roster, I'd actually played with a good amount of the guys on the team already. John West is my best friend from home since we were 8 years old. So even the guys that I hadn't played with, like through him, I had met a lot of, like Wang as well was at Holy Cross the year before me. So through those two guys, I met a lot of the guys on the team that I wouldn't have otherwise known, like beforehand, just visiting on weekends or something. So yeah, it was a pretty easy transition for myself, honestly, because I had known all those guys for a year plus earlier. And then on top of that, like the guys I didn't know, it's just such, like I said earlier, such a close-knit group, and felt like we all hit it off right away. So it was really easy to transition.
And familiarity on both ends, right? Whether it's Gunnar with the staff or Tyler with your teammates from home. And I think the biggest thing that struck me about BC baseball when I first got here, I mean, I think we'd be remiss not to mention Pete Frates and his impact and just what he means to this school. I mean, I think beyond the program, what does Pete and maybe his family, his story mean to each of you?
Who wants to tackle this one first?
And a loaded question.
Yeah,
right?
the most direct answer is it's everything, right? When we bring guys on visits and we bring them in to the Frates Center, the first thing we do is we tell them who Pete is and what he stood for, who he was, about the Frates Foundation, John, Nancy, the whole thing. And we also mentioned Wells Crowther. And we basically say, as a student athlete at BC, these are the two people that you need to know. As a BC baseball player, Pete is certainly forefront. You walk into his building, and make no mistake about it, it's his building, right?
Yep.
And so for us, that's where everything starts, right? And it's just kind of centered around it. And it's not just a administrative thing or a coaching thing. So I'll tell a quick story. So one of the things that we looked at doing was, I feel like every program, every year, maybe they look at doing different graphics in the locker room or doing different things in and around the building. How do we want to do this? You know, you just kind of update it, those type of things. And I left one section up to the players. Like, hey, you know, me and the staff picked out this. We're, you know, thinking about doing this. This is one section, like, what would you guys want to have here? And unanimously, it was a quote from Pete. So it's not just us kind of pressing the message. It lives within them, and that's kind of my segue to pass it off to you guys. But I think that's speaks to how it lives in them, is that they had one opportunity to put one thing in the building, and they still sent it back to Pete.
Yeah, the thing that obviously, like, you know about Pete Frates, and the thing that kind of stuck out to me, and Coach Sullivan says it every year, but, his big thing was, I know that, I'm probably not going to survive this, but I want to find a cure for the people after me. And that's kind of, the old saying, leave it better for the next guy, but that's kind of the thing that has really stuck out to me, and just what a great leader he was in that sense, and, making it bigger than himself and for others. And as a Jesuit school, that's our mission as well. So I think those two things kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with what Tyler is saying. It's just, it brings a message that you could be something bigger than yourself. And whether that be just being on the team or within the program, it's like the program is beyond that team of that year. And like Tyler was saying, like, how do you leave it better for the next guy? And I think that's a perfect example of, like, if Pete can give his life to the cause of ALS and make it better for the next people, it's an easy job for us to make the locker room and the environment of the program better for the next guys that come in.
Yeah, well, that's really great, guys. Thank you so much. Because I think that's the spirit, not just of BC sports and Boston College as a school, but of team sports, right? Being, a part of the whole. And I think that Pete truly embodies that. You guys touched on it a bit, but what are some of the qualities that maybe Pete stood for, or he lived his life with, that you guys try to emulate every day?
To me, when I first got here, I felt like, as our new head coach, I almost needed permission from John and Nancy to carry on his mission.
Yeah.
Because obviously I know, being new, coming in, I mentioned it about baseball night, it's a moving train, right? The Frates Foundation was certainly established, and to me, I just felt like I needed to ask them permission to continue to carry his torch and, speak about his legacy, which they could not have been better. And so for me, I just feel like my obligation as our head coach is just to make sure that he's at the forefront of everything that we do. And what he's done and what he stood for, that has all been documented. To me, my responsibility is just to make sure that, again, it's at the forefront. And that's basically what I try to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think obviously I didn't experience firsthand with Pete, but going back to my best friend John West, he lost his father to ALS when we were 13. So I witnessed that firsthand, and that's pretty close to my heart as well. But like everyone says in stories about him, like, he just found, even when, things were kind of going south, he still found, the happiness in each day. And I think that's something I try to carry with myself, is, facing adversity and still, finding the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I think that's the main point for me, is like that adversity side of it. It's like you can always find a positive in something. And I feel like that's something you have to do every day, because it's easy for someone to say, oh, the glass is half full, the glass is half empty. And I think Pete Frates really did a great job of saying the glass is half full.
Yeah.
Like, there's always something there you can make something positive out of.
And just a great message for life, like we were saying, right? And it's truly remarkable, the work the Frates Foundation, Mr. and Mrs. Frates, the millions of dollars they've raised to try and find a cure. And I think a beautiful tradition that you guys have is upholding that legacy every year in the ALS awareness game, which also happens to be at Fenway Park. One of the many games, as we mentioned, you'll play this year. What does that game mean to each of you?
So going back to what I just said, one of my main objectives is to make sure that it remains the ALS game, not the game that we get to play at Fenway, right?
Yep.
Fenway is the platform. And, Sam Kennedy spoke at our baseball night last week and basically stood up there and said that the Red Sox and Fenway want to host that game forever, was his exact line. So they're providing us the platform. But to me, it's, why do we play that game? It's not the fact that we get to be there. It's, why do we do it? Because of, Ty mentioned it and Gunnar mentioned it, because of Pete's selflessness. And so for me, it's about carrying on the mission, and it's about continuing to shine the light on what he did. Fenway provides an unbelievable platform, right? When I first got here, we did our first ALS game over there. It was against UVA that year. And, friends are like, how was it playing there? I was like, it's awesome. Like,
like Fenway Park,
like,
right?
What do you want me to say? It's as good or better than you would ever imagine. And so my message every time we get off the bus, before we walk into Fenway, is I just try to impress on those guys why we get to walk in here. Not celebrating the fact that we are, but why do we get to walk in here? Because a guy so many years ago was given a death sentence and turned that into a selfless act. That's why you guys get to walk in here. So to me, it's just about, again, shining light on what he did.
Yeah, and true heroism, as you mentioned there too. Kind of going back to those qualities, right? Those are, I feel like we talked about this with softball too, that fall ball is a really unique time to kind of, conjure up those things, season before your season with the group that you'll mostly be with. Did you find that cohesion early on will have an effect in the season as you guys get started in a couple days?
Yeah, absolutely. I think thinking back to the best teams I've been a part of, it's usually the tightest knit group. So, especially in the dog days of the fall, you're all kind of going through the suck together. So I think even just bonding over something as small as that is really makes the team closer and tighter for the season. So
Yeah. Benner?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's times through the fall where we do a lot more lifting than we're used to. I don't think baseball players are known for being like the strongest or biggest guys for athletes,
There's
but
some big guys out there, certainly, yeah.
couple. But so like just again, like he said, like going through that, being like, oh, we have
Yeah.
a tough lift today, and just looking around early on in the fall and seeing that you have 20 position players, and then in the pitcher group, 20 pitchers that are all just giving 100%, and you're like,
Yep.
the season's not for another 2 months, 3 months, and these guys are still fully bought in immediately, right when they get here in the fall.
And Tyler, you mentioned the dog days. That's truly what college baseball is. To go from, if you, let's say you go all the way out to Omaha, right, which is I think every team's goal going into the season, and then you go play summer ball on the Cape or elsewhere, and then when you get back to campus, you're starting baseball up again. It's truly a grind. How do you guys feel that you manage that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is, making your off days your off day. Like, I know there's guys who feel like they have to hit or throw 7 days a week. Like, for me, like, it's the 6 days a week, and, like, I make sure that one day, like, I'm doing nothing in relation to baseball. I think, and especially after, like, the long weeks, like, you're tired, but, like, once we have our off days Monday, like, Tuesday, I'm super motivated and pumped to get back to the field the next day. So, I think, making my off day really helps kind of all the way through the season, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's the way I look at it, like it goes back to your confidence in your planning and how organized you are. Like you said, like it's a long season. There's a lot of games to play, so you don't have time to waste reps. Like to sit there and take 100 swings off the tee and mess around, because if you do that every day, like you're taking 700 swings a week, like that's gonna take a toll on your body. So I feel with me, it's organizing your week and getting sufficient work in that you're 100% focused on, whether it be 25 reps off the tee versus 100.
Yep.
And then that way you're confident in what you're doing. You're not second guessing yourself, being like, okay, did I do enough? Because you know you were 100% focused in that work, while also saving your energy for those games that week.
And I feel like you bring up an interesting point with just the length of the season. Keep harping on it, right? It's one of the longer seasons in college sports. It feels like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that I wonder how your mindset changes, knowing that the season doesn't necessarily hinge on one series loss or one individual loss, right? Or one moment that maybe doesn't go your way. How do you guys, from a mentality standpoint, approach that?
So we break it up in sets is what we do. So basically, it's easy in football. Hey, go 1-0 every week. I think that's a pretty common mantra in football. We try to break it up in 7-game sets. So we basically look at it, obviously it takes about a week and a half. Gunnar mentioned before, we're playing 4 or 5 games a week. So for us, that's how we try to compartmentalize it. And if you have a really good set, say you go 6-1 in a set, okay, wipe it, moving on. You dump one, you're 2-5 in a set, right? So that's how we try to break it up. We've done that, since we walked in the door, done that at my previous institution. And to me, like, that kind of makes sense in our head. And it seems like it lands with a bunch of our guys. And it just kind of gives you those resets throughout the course of the season. So that's how we do it, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. That's kind of our process.
Yeah, I think especially as a pitcher, you talk a lot about short memory, whether something went really well or something went really bad, like your focus has to just be in the present and on that next pitch or next game or whatever it may be. So, again, never getting too high or too low and always just focused on whatever that next picks, next game, next series.
Yeah, and the main thing I think of when I think of this is just you can always start playing good baseball. And I think T.I. says this a lot. And
Exactly, yeah.
I think baseball is a unique sport where there is no halftime. There is no time for your coach to like meet with you and like break something down and give you guys a good reset. Like
Yep.
you have to be able to do that on your own. And like he says, like we divvy up our games into sets, and I think you can go even further and just be like, this inning's different than the next inning. Like it's not that, oh, I'm playing bad today. Okay, I'll get him tomorrow. It's like
Right.
no, like you can
Yep.
change something right now in this moment that is going to flip that switch and make you do something right.
Exactly. And coach, why did you how did you land on 7 versus 5 or 10? No, just 7 was the number that
Well, it was
came to your
it was
head?
either 7 or 8 because then it just kind of divisible by 56, so that's kind of
Yeah.
where it landed. So, and I felt like 7, the odd number, so 4 and 3 is better than 4 and 4, vice versa. So that's how I landed
Exactly. You have one going the other way. And
Yeah.
I feel this season, I think, will be unique because you've got a trip to Puerto Rico coming up, which is very exciting. About an hour from Julio Solier's hometown, which should be really fun for him. Any more excitement this season than in years past or with the trips that are coming up?
Said this a number of times, both publicly and privately, and I just mean it for exactly the way that I say it. And I try to be really careful when I say it. This team is just so different than the 2 years previous. Doesn't mean it's better, doesn't mean it's worse, doesn't mean it's good or bad. It's just different. And so we had so many, and look, and we'll say this till the day I'm done coaching. I will always be forever indebted to the guys that stuck with BC baseball when we got here. Because in today's age, when Mike left and I got here, there could have been 35 guys in the portal. And I don't think that has anything to do with me. I think it has to do with the institution. And people believe in the institution and they believe what BC stands for. Going back to what Ty said about the program and the people that were here before, I think that's where the fabric of all those guys. However, from a personal standpoint, I feel I will be forever indebted to all those guys that stuck with it and bought in and did all the things that, Gunnar talks about in the fall. However, at least, and these guys can speak on it too, because especially Ty's been here, the 3 years with us. There's just like a whole new, it's a different vibe. It's just a different building. It's a different feel. It's different conversations. The voices that are the loudest are different voices now. So to me, like, again, it's not good, bad. It's just different. So for me, like, this feels like a very unique year in the 3 years that I've been here for that reason.
Yeah, I think Todd hit it on the head. It definitely is different. I will say for me personally in my 3 years here, and again, maybe it's because my last year playing, but this is the most excited I've been for a season. I think we're really deep, and I'm really excited about this team this year. Yeah. So I think we're going to turn a lot of heads.
Yeah, I think it's unique with this team that we have a leadership staff, such as like guys like Nick Wang and Tyler Mudd, who have been in multiple roles on a team before. Like they've seen it all. Like they've been the supporting cast to guys like John West, Cam Leary, but now they are the leaders on the team. So they bring some insight that can relate to those guys that are sitting on the bench or not getting the playing time that they want to be like, hey, like I know how this feels like, and we can be a group together and do something special.
Right, and I mean, just because they're faces that have been here before, they're taking a leadership role now. I feel like vibe is such an intangible thing, right? It's just something you have to feel, obviously. And you guys think there's a lot of cause for excitement, whether it be with the trips or with the slate on hand. As we transition more into your personal selves as members of the BC community, what are certain non-negotiables within your program? And Coach, I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Good choice.
What's up?
Said good choice.
Yeah.
Go through the list.
Well, non-negotiables in coaching or like non-negotiables in life? Like what?
How
Like,
about both?
Okay, all right.
Get a list ready.
I get that question a lot. What's your one non-negotiable as a coach? Is guys that walk into this program that have to have the ability to be coached hard. Like that's the number one, man. Like we, and their personalities and why they chose BC lends themselves to that, right? They've talked about the academic rigor. They've talked about the travel. They've talked about what we put them through. Like guys that choose BC are not choosing the easy path, right? They're choosing to challenge themselves. So that's really works pretty well. But yeah, on the field, like you've got to have the ability to be coached hard. And we push our players. Like we push our players. We want to max them out. We talked last week about being greater than the sum of our parts. And we don't do that with really comfortable training environments, right? It's not all butterflies and rainbows when you walk out there to practice. So
Yep.
that's number one. My non-negotiable for my wife and our 2 daughters was we just wanted to land in a place that was good for them, right? And I know this is like a little bit more personal, and I think as coaches, from an outside perspective, everybody looks at job to job, right? Okay, this job on the field is better than that job on the field, so this guy should make that move, right? This job is gonna whatever all the on the field stuff that goes with it. I will tell you that when we looked at BC, we looked at the community first. Like my wife and I looked at the community first. And what kind of life were we going to provide for, at the time, our daughters were 9 and 8 when we moved here? And what kind of life were we going to provide for them? And this community and what this does in terms of raising kids, education, the families that they're around, how welcoming this community is, that for Melissa and I, that was number one on our list. And we would have never gone to a place, despite how good the program perceptually could have been, despite anything, we were not going to go to a place that wasn't good for our family, and this is a slam dunk.
And I feel like that kind of gets lost in the shuffle. I think this year across all sports, not just baseball, football, basketball, there's been a lot of coaching changes, right? And just shuffling around. And it feels like the perception is, oh, this job is better, and so you should take it, right? Just like you said. But, I mean, there's really so much more that goes into it, and there's so much more you have to consider when you're actually thinking about making that move. Guys, do you concur on the non-negotiables, by the way? You said that's practices. What does the hardest day of practice look like?
You can go because you guys.
Yeah, I'll say. Well, I can get this one. So
I think that's good that you acknowledge that. I
Yeah.
think your position player counterparts like that.
yeah, so it's always a joke that we have on the team that's like, oh, we're going. The position players would go to hit or go do defense or something, and the pitchers are already in the locker room, showered, leaving the building. We're like, oh, we get it. You guys are done already. Like every single day.
Tyler's already on his way back to his room.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm over here doing blocking drills with T.I. He's got the machine at 85 miles per hour from 15 feet away. It's always
That's
a fun
amazing,
time.
yeah.
But I mean, I would say a day for catchers specifically, we would probably start like lift around 2 p.m. Before that, get training room stuff in. Starting at like 1, probably takes about an hour.
Yeah.
And then we lift earlier than the position players most of the time, just because we have to go and catch pens with the pitchers. Like we have
Right.
somewhat of a hybrid schedule, being position players, but also being connected with the
Catchers,
pitchers.
Right. Yep.
Lift, and then put like a little base running segment post lift on the field, and then we'll get into some defensive individual work, then work our way into like team D. And each one of these segments is anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour,
Yeah.
just depending on
Yeah.
what the schedule is that day. And then we just get into some hitting drills, whether we go we have 6 cages, whether we go 6 wide or do some on-field hitting if it's nice out in the fall.
Yeah.
And so that's our typical practice day.
That's the other difficult thing about being in this region, right? Is that the nice days in the fall are numbered, and you only have a couple weeks in the spring before you're actually getting into baseball and going. How do you guys balance obviously the need to keep playing baseball, having the Frady Center to be inside, but also weather and regionally knowing that travel's coming up?
Yeah, I would say this, and I know there's some really good ones out there, and maybe we're biased, but this is the best facility in the Northeast, right? These guys are so fortunate, and you combine the fact that administration spends the time and the money to put the bubble over alumni and allow us an indoor practice facility there. To me, like, I wouldn't want to be in a different region, like we talked about personally and from an institution standpoint, and the fact that they provide us basically the best facilities in the Northeast to prepare. To me, like, I think we're really, really fortunate. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going off of that, like you said, the facilities are so nice that like when we were outside, like it's easy for us to handle that in a way where it's like we're not out here being miserable every single day because we have those options to go inside to the bubble or be in our facility and be outside of the weather. So like when we go out there and practice, it's easy for us just to stay focused and locked in to be like, okay, like this is our hour block in the day we're outside. Like let's just focus as much as we can and get this done, because then we'll be inside and be able to be in a comfortable environment.
And to be in that building, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
it's just like you walk up and you're taken aback, right? Like you say Gaston's one thing, and then you see the glass windows on the Frady Center. You're like, wow, this place rocks, right? Look, getting into, again, more personal stuff for you and Gunnar, Tyler. Thinking about your BC experience, obviously, this is your final season, both graduate students. Looking back, do you have a favorite memory either as a student or as a baseball player at BC?
It's a lot to choose from.
Yeah. Cast a wide net.
I mean, the tailgates are obviously unbelievable. I think non-base. Do you want?
Sure.
I'd say non-baseball last year. The BU-BC game, a couple of us got seats right on the glass
Oh,
in
that's
the
amazing.
1-0 win. So
Yeah.
that was one of the best nights ever. But
was that
I would
good?
say more so just all the people I've met. Like all the people here are unbelievable. They're all some of my closest friends. So even just living with those guys is so fun to just hang out, in the living room at home. And baseball, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch to choose from. I think being in the ACC is obviously really cool. Play at some pretty awesome places and get to play with the pride for Boston College. So,
Yeah, I think for me it was probably experiencing the ACC tournament for the first time last year, and the little bit of a run we went on, and just seeing that fire come out at the end of the season, just being like, wow, like this is a special group of players that want it, like they want it bad, and to me that kind of like opened my eyes to be like, okay, like yes, like this is a great spot for me, like
Yeah.
I love this place.
And in the Durham Bulls Park, nonetheless. I love the movie, so that's like movie storybook, right?
Yeah,
Like just
yeah.
to play in that space. But Coach, favorite memory for you during your 3 years here? Not to put you on the spot and to pick
Yeah.
one, but
Let's see. Off the field, I think it was. Off the field, I will always go back to. Those players sticking with BC. That'll be forever etched in my mind. Just how committed they were, and not only that, not only did they stay, but just how bought in they were. Right. Get here and they're like, okay, like new coach, new system, new language. Like we're in. Tell us what to do. So that to me is probably from a personal standpoint related to BC. That's probably number one. Yeah, there's some wins in there that I really, really have enjoyed. I think I have to side with Gunnar. I think for whatever reason, like finishing those games after 2 a.m. kind of like added to like the mystique and the nostalgia of it. I remember last year, the second game, win the second game of the tournament. That game, I think, finished at like 2:15 in the morning. Get back. So this is kind of maybe I'm going to embarrass him, but so it just kind of combines. This is why I think BC is really cool. This is a story that maybe you guys don't even know. So we go to practice. We finish game one, first day of the tournament, and we finish at like 1:45 in the morning. And the next day, we go to the field, and I said to Sam McNulty at the time, I go, dude, I go, what time did you go to bed? He goes, dude, I didn't fall asleep till like 4:30 or 5 o'clock. I go, me too, man. I was just like laying in bed, like staring at the ceiling. Yeah. So then we go the next day, and same thing happens. Win a game, finish at like 2:15. And I'm in my hotel room, and I think it's 5:15 in the morning, and I am not asleep. Now, we have the next day,
Yeah.
we're off, okay? Because that's the way the tournament's scheduled. So we played a game, won, played a game, won, off day, and then scheduled. 5:15 in the morning, I'm laying in bed, and I text Sam, and I go, I'm wide awake. He goes, me too. And I go, you want to meet in the lobby? He goes, yeah. So I got up. Do you guys know this?
Yeah.
So I got up out of my hotel room, went downstairs, and me and Sam sat in the lobby
Oh.
from like 5:15 in the morning to like 6:15 in the morning.
yeah.
And we're sitting there and we're talking about his career and the transition and the run we're on and just this total moment. And all of a sudden, like, we realize we are in the way because people are coming down for breakfast. Yeah. Like the people that are up, it's like this.
And you have still not gone to bed.
We have not gone to bed, and the hotel staff is like said. I look at Sam. I go, I think we might need to leave. Like people are coming down for breakfast. So that to me is just goes, And Sam was one of those guys that was here before we got here, and like those type of things to me are just like all those are irreplaceable, right?
That
So
might be
I'll
the
s-
most well placed off day ever.
Yeah.
like
for sure.
that was totally needed. But that's like you said, that's why BC's great,
Yeah.
right? And that's the camaraderie across generations, just like we started off talking about Fenway Night and the alumni. You mentioned generations, right?
Yep.
Of BC baseball connecting. It's the 40-year plan in action in a hotel room in Durham.
Yeah,
and
that's
great.
I'd bet a lot of money that there weren't any other head coaches sitting with their starting shortstop at 6 o'clock in the morning in a hotel room. I put a lot of money on that.
I'd
one.
imagine they'd all be in bed.
Yeah.
But they didn't just win a second round of the tournament. So
Yep.
that's the good thing about it. Closing up with some fun questions here. Coach, please feel free to
Start with
chime
them
in.
first.
Chime in where you see
Okay.
fit. Do we have a favorite dining hall on campus?
So neither of us have lived on campus.
Favorite place to eat in the area?
Yeah, I would. In the area.
Sure.
Oh, all right.
Or if
I
you
would-
had an answer to the dining hall question.
Okay, so I would say Eagle's Nest. Eaten there. I've only eaten at each place a couple times. Like I've eaten at Lower and Hillside each maybe once or twice each. In the area, I would say I love Kava. I'm a huge Kava guy. So and
The
then
one by the mall?
yeah,
Yeah,
And then
yep.
like for a restaurant, Stockyard.
That's a good one. Gunner?
I mean, I've never actually been to any of the dining halls, so I couldn't tell you the names of the dining halls.
You would have fooled me if you didn't say anything.
Restaurants around, I'd say obviously Eagles Deli's an easy one,
Yeah.
just right down the road.
Oh, shout out Jim's Deli. Too.
Jim's, I was gonna say
Yeah.
Jim's
is
the
great.
one.
Closer
where-
to you guys, right?
And not
Yeah.
many
Right inside.
BC students
I know.
know
Many
about
people
it,
know
which
about
is
it. It's kinda
it's
hidden.
crazy.
Yeah,
Which is
Sicilian wrap from
Yeah.
Jim's Dough.
Great people there
Yeah.
too.
I haven't gotten the
Awesome
Sicilian
stuff.
wrap. I got to try that.
Oh yeah,
good.
It's really heavy, but really
Yeah,
good.
it's really, yeah.
Yeah.
Coach, favorite place to eat in the area?
Near BC, Jim's hands down,
Jim's.
number
Okay.
one.
And what are you getting from Jim's?
Steak and egg, or they have
That's what
a
I go steak and egg.
yeah, they have a I can't remember the name of it. They have like a day after wrap that's like turkey, cranberry, and stuffing. That's unreal. And then, but my
delicious.
go-to is the Brookline wrap. That's my go-to.
I have 2 new things to try now. I have 2 things
Yeah.
to try at Jim's Deli. Favorite day of the BC year? Like a Marathon Monday, maybe the snow day a couple weeks ago. First one for BC in quite some time.
I would say Marathon Monday.
Has to be,
It's
right?
always
Yeah.
a great day. So
Yeah. I mean, if I choose something else, baseball night.
Baseball
yeah,
night.
baseball
Yeah,
night's up.
whatever day that falls on.
Yeah, I don't enjoy baseball night as much as those guys do because, like, I'm like, it's kind of like a work event, right? Like those guys just show up and they're like, "Hey, bro, what's up?"
Hey, Sal Frelick, how are you?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like in my 3 falls here, I feel like there's always one football game in the fall that like just kind of lands perfectly for whatever reason, whether it's kind of the way it falls on the calendar. I remember 2 years ago we played after Thanksgiving. Like that was a ton of fun because you're kind of off, you're finished with the season. Our neighborhood was there. They threw a tailgate. We had, like that was so like I just feel like there's one football game every year. It's just kind of like everything hits. The Michigan State game, like that was really fun. Like I don't know, that's always my favorite day of the year, wherever that lands.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Coach O'Brien was at baseball night.
Yeah,
That's cool.
He's the best, man.
Yeah.
He's the best. Like when he first got here, he and I just formed a good relationship. He's the man, dude. I love him.
Was that through his son playing baseball at Tufts or just
I think he's just a good human being.
Being a good human being?
I think he's just a good human being. Invited us on the podcast, went over there.
Mm.
Him and I live pretty close to each other in Newton. Son plays baseball. He loves baseball. Like it's just
Yeah.
He's
Perfect.
awesome.
Perfect. Is there a favorite spot on campus? And I have a feeling what you guys are going to say, but it can be anywhere you like to study, practice, be by yourself.
I mean, I would say just right in front of Gasson with the big gold, walking to class every day, and because I would park like up on the side street there and walk right down the center there towards Gasson, and almost kind of every day I would kind of pinch and be so thankful that I'm at BC. So I think that, especially in the fall with the foliage, is pretty cool.
For me, it might be something small, but just anytime I go to the bubble, walking by the Doug Flutie statue, and just seeing that, and just being reminded that like somebody from BC is capable of that greatness.
Of having a statue outside a stadium.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go with Ty. When I drive to work every day, I go right by that strip. That's like how I come in every single day. And I always, like, I'm not lying, I always slow down. Like that strip, whether it's full bloom in the summer, foliage in the fall, even now, like when the snow hit it, there's just something magical about looking down at the Golden Eagle into Gasson with Baps on the right and just the tree line. Like that just does not get old.
Out of a movie, right?
It is literally out of a movie.
Oh, it's the best. I know this is a sensitive subject for you too, maybe, and you don't. Please do not have to share. What is our walk-up song for this season?
I'm not sure. I was thinking Let It Rock by Kevin Rudolph, like a little 2000s.
Yeah, blast from the past. I
Yeah.
love
When
it.
were you born again? What was the year you were born?
01.
What I did last year was Victory Lap by Nipsey Hussle. It was my brother's, so I just kind of took it from him, kind of stole it.
Okay, keep it in the family.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we gonna stay with that this
So.
year?
I think so. Either that or in the past I've done I'm Up by NBA Youngboy.
Now,
another rap song.
I've always wondered with like a mid-season change. Sometimes I hear like, oh, this player has a walk-up song to start the season, then there's a different one. Have you guys ever considered that? And why do you think someone would do that?
I wouldn't say I've ever really considered it. I totally I think usually it's probably a performance thing. Like, oh, I'm struggling. I gotta switch it
It's
up.
gotta
Like,
be the music,
yeah.
right?
yeah, I would definitely consider. I could see myself doing that as well. So, but yeah, I think it's mostly just kind of a performance thing.
Is there a personal favorite walk-up song on your team, or did you have? What was your walk-up song when you played?
I played before there were walk-up songs, so there you go. I just dated myself. So we have this tradition. We have this tradition at BC Baseball called Greyhound Lounge. And Greyhound Lounge is one of the coolest things that happen. That's honestly might be one of my favorite moments
Yeah.
when we do
For
Greyhound Lounge.
sure.
Yep.
Essentially what it is everybody that's new to the program, they have to get up and sing a cappella on the bus. Okay?
On
Which
like
is
the bus of the first game, or just practice? Or?
basically whenever I'm in a good mood is basically when after a win
At some
for sure.
point over spring break.
Yeah.
typically.
Hence the name Greyhound Lounge.
Greyhound
Bus.
Lounge, yep.
Yeah, okay, that's great. Creative.
So yeah, I think probably that would be more insightful of like what people sing for Greyhound Lounge. Like watching Jacob Burnham last year sing Pink Pony Club was like one of the greatest memories that I remember. So yeah.
That's great. You guys have. I mean, what was your Greyhound Lounge moment?
Last year I did the song from 8 Mile.
Wow, the rap battle scene.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
With
amazing.
Eminem. I'm trying to think. I don't know. It was whatever the one where he's like, oh, it's his final rap
Yeah,
battle
towards the
against
end.
Papa
Yeah.
Doc. So I did
a good
that and tailored it towards some guys a little
Oh
bit.
no!
So,
Oh no! Like a diss track.
yeah,
Oh,
essentially.
Okay.
Somewhat so. I did Me and My Broken Heart by Rickson. Yeah, I took it back. I was
There's
like,
some high notes in that one.
yeah,
you get-
I thought I
get
did a
up
pretty
there?
good job. You know, I got a couple high fives on the way back to my spot
There
on
you
the bus.
go.
So like,
All right.
I'll take it. I'll
We got
take
some
it.
pretty good singers on the team. It sounds
Yeah,
like.
you should.
No, they're terrible, but they're willing to
That's
try.
what makes it fun.
You should
that's what
ask
makes
him
it
what
fun.
he did for his song.
I was gonna say, well, coaches do it.
Yeah. I mean, I was new to the program, and I chose a song that none of these guys have ever heard of. It's called Homebrew by 311. That 311 is like my favorite band of all time. And my wife hates 311. So like every time 311's on in the car, she's like, I'm just gonna bang my head against the window until you turn it off. But yeah, Homebrew by 311 is what I did. And so I felt like that was good because number one, it was like, they had no idea what I should have been saying or not. So like it didn't matter. So even if I messed it up, I was in a good spot.
And it's your favorite band, so
Yeah.
easy for you.
Exactly.
As we wrap up here, guys, what's one phrase Todd always says?
I mean, there's a
And then-
million.
I mean,
yeah, this is a,
I mean, I get it, I'm picking one, but
There's. I mean,
Trying to
this
think of
one's
a good
just
one.
he said it. I don't want to use that one. You go first.
thinking. Let's see. I've heard
are there too many to choose from?
them all.
There-
Let's see. We could rifle through a couple. It's just like there's like we playing rap music over the speakers, and Tyler always hit the line like, "Man, I just really love this song. Like, this is the best song I've ever heard in my life." And you just know he's being completely sarcastic. Or like just the classic like, I'll be catching and like I'll clank one and he'll just be like, hey, like, you know you're supposed to catch the ball, right? I'm just like, oh yeah, appreciate that. Like that was needed.
Yeah, I mean, we said it's never too late to start playing good baseball. Be a 1-2. There's a lot. There's
Max
a lot
hand
of top,
speed.
max hand speed. There's
Full
a lot
conviction.
of full conviction. How are you willing to lose?
Wow.
Yeah.
There's
You
a
can make a
lot
book
of
out of these.
Toddisms.
This is
yeah.
amazing.
Autisms.
Yeah,
Some of
lot
them
of
probably
autisms.
aren't too PG as well. So
Well, so
can't say those on
it's a
air,
family-friendly
but-
program.
Yeah,
so you can't-
exactly.
Someone's got to have like a list somewhere. You got to like
Yeah,
make a notes
we
app or
honestly
something.
should.
Yeah, that's it'd be
Be
a
a
long
long one.
document. Coach, what's one thing you feel you always say?
Ball first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ball first.
Ball
That's
first.
the mantra.
Yeah, that comes out. I feel like that comes out of my mouth the most. Ball
Is that a
first.
swing thought or a?
Defensive.
Defensive.
Defensive thought.
Stay late. You're not late enough.
That's not
Max, you better be max bat speed. I will not accept nothing less.
It was all in the numbers. Oh, that's great. Well, guys, I really appreciate this. Thank you so much for coming in. Best of luck. Season starts in 7 days. Nice little road trip coming up. So, looking forward to watching BC baseball this spring and beyond. Hopefully.
All right, I got to say one thing though
Please.
before we part. Okay,
Yes.
so these guys they don't do this stuff a lot because they just kind of. But you know, as you get older, you do these. Like you are phenomenal at this.
Thank you so
like
much.
you do
I
a
appreciate
really
it.
really
Thank
good
you.
job.
Yeah.
Like this was so much fun and this was so
Yeah.
easy because you're amazing, dude. You're one of the better
thank you.
podcasters I've been with. So
I
great
really
job.
Appreciate
Absolutely.
That. Thank you,
Yep.
guys, and nice work. If you guys don't do this a lot, you guys are naturals.
Yeah.
Great.
That's
great.
all goes back to you. You got them right, man. You got
Thank
them right.
Thanks so much for coming on, guys. Really appreciate this. Best of luck this year.
All right, thanks for your
I wanna give it up, be the best alive. I'm gonna show you how to do it right.